Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how's it going today?
Great. Ready to talk about the Cleveland Browns win.
Yeah, definitely really exciting win, especially to see it with Trevor Lawrence out there playing healthy. He looked good. Well, at least he looked healthy. He didn't play all that well, as we'll talk about. But um, when I saw him warming up, I I wasn't quite as confident as the Browns' chances as I think many of us, probably felt the same. But the Browns were able to force three interceptions from Trevor Lawrence and limit themselves to only one interception thrown by Joe Flacco. Flacco by far had his best game. Well, it's only been 2 games for him, but passed for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Nick, anything else to add with that?
Yeah, I just love in small sample size 2 games, but I love what Flacco and Stefanski have done so far. I always call it like the Baker Mayfield offense. Going back to the play action and roll out and just underneath throws, and I really think it's a good fit for Flacco in the offense. We love to run the ball and not to get too far ahead, but I hope that's something Watson can, maybe adjust to in the future. But great game. Um, you know, touchdown interception ratio is good. Got game one, 9 different players involved, 8 different players involved week 2. So really exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And it was the first multi-touchdown game of David Njoku's career. That was great to see. He almost had 100 yards. He had an awesome game, and Stefanski seemed to be scheming him wide open. Um, and David Bell had his first career touchdown, the former Boilermaker. So it's good to see him out there, the third round pick from a couple of years ago. And Kareem Hunt had another touchdown. He's leading the team in touchdowns, so that was really great to see. I would have thought Dustin Hopkins, Kareem Hunt, and Joe Flacco would be having such an impact on this team at the start of the season. But kidding aside, they beat a tough AFC opponent, a good team, and where things stand, it looks like, obviously a lot of things could change and happen, but it looks like they might meet again in the playoffs. And let's talk about how the Browns could get there. Nick, what needs to happen for the Browns to get there, in your opinion?
Yeah, just real quick, you mentioned it looks like we could meet up at Jacksonville again. I did ESPN, what do you call it, random playoff draft machine, and looks like if it plays out with a lot more wins, it will be at Jacksonville or at Indianapolis. But what I think needs to happen is fans seem to maybe believe, oh, we got to put all our trust in Joe Flacco, and that's partially true, but mostly our defense is certainly more healthy than our offense. Uh, we just found out officially Jedrick Wills and now Dwan Jones are officially out for the remainder of the year. Tough to see, but their last 4 games are all winnable. You got home against the Bears. They lit it up against the Lions, but I say there's no excuse not to grab Sunday's game. And then, it's easy for us to say, but keep doing what you're doing with Flacco, and I think it'll all continue to gel together.
Yeah, and the Browns actually, by many metrics, have a fairly easy, like you mentioned, remaining strength of schedule, and this is something that we would. I don't even think any serious fan or many serious fans would have talked about at the start of the year, let alone after all these injuries and Deshaun going out. But they are in. I don't think it's crazy to say that they could compete for a 1 seed. Especially with Miami losing last night, they were up 14 with something like 3 or 4 minutes left to play and completely blew it. So in Miami, they have to go and play Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo, as well as the New York Jets. And then Baltimore, the current #1 seed in the AFC, they play San Francisco, Miami, Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh. So those are all tough schedules. Again, the Browns, they're facing NFL teams. They're going to have to go out and play and win every single Sunday. There's zero guarantees. And then Kansas City, they're competing. They play Cincinnati, the Patriots, the Raiders, and Chargers. So not quite as difficult as a schedule, but we have the same record with them right now. So look, the Browns, obviously, I think most fans would be happy with just making the playoffs, but hey, having the #1 overall seed, winning the division, getting that bye week, all that extra rest, especially with so many injuries, I mean, that would work wonders. So we're so, excited to bring you the latest with that in the coming weeks. And hey, hopefully the Browns can keep winning and at least put the pressure on the other teams and make some of these games even more interesting as we head towards the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a lot that would have to go in their favor, but the biggest thing is for them to keep winning and as long as they take care of that part, they can't guarantee anything even in their favor. But as long as they have strong performances like they did against the Jags and even I'll say the Rams, because seeing that QB performance was really exciting. If they just take care of their business and even, I'd say just win 3 of the 4, because I predicted splitting the Jags Texans game would be huge. But CJ Stroud is, it's 2 weeks away, but it's out with a concussion. We'll see what happens there. We know we won't be playing Burrow, and so it's going to be really fun rest of the month.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll definitely be bringing the highlights, and have at least one more Thursday night game, one more night game, I should say, against the New York Jets, and who knows, maybe they'll flex another one of these games. That could be another primetime game for the Browns. They seem to do well in those games in the last few years. So really looking forward to the stretch run in the season, and hopefully guys can come back and get healthy. Guys like Denzel Ward, Miles still seems like he's not 100%. Get some of these offensive linemen who are filling in, get them reps and things like that, and ultimately protect that quarterback, Joe Flacco. Really excited about what this team can do, and again, take it 1 week at a time. But I think 10 wins will certainly do it. You can even get crazy and say 9, especially if it's Houston that they beat. But we'll see. Take it week by week for sure. Got to go out and see what they can do this week against what should be an relatively easy opponent. And then just go from there. Hopefully, avoid injuries.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking of for our show, in the moment, in an up and down year with injuries and losses, and when we see a particular play not go our way, we, it's natural for fans to get upset at the play call and this and that. But I was thinking just maybe grabbing 2 more wins could be enough to get Stefanski extended. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be extended. I think he'll be extended regardless. He's proven that he knows what he's doing. He's a good coach. I was trying to think of other coaches who have had this much success with such inconsistent quarterback play, not just from a talent standpoint, but just all the revolving doors of quarterbacks, be it injury or poor play or trades or acquisition, things like that. Stefanski has had to deal with a lot, and yeah, they had a couple down years where they missed the playoffs, but they were still competitive right around the 500 mark. And yeah, I think he'll certainly be extended, even if they went on to miss the playoffs.
Should be exciting to see. I also want to bring this up because we don't really cover them too much. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been relatively hot lately, winning 4 of their last 5, and they all seem to be against Florida. They played Orlando twice. They split home and road, and they beat the Miami Heat on the road. Uh, Kevin Love is there now. Max Strus was on that finals team, who's now one of our big 3-point shooters. And I remember watching the Heat game, and the Cavaliers in the third quarter went on a 13-0 run, and Garland put up 9 of those 13 points. Really fun to see. So as exciting as the Browns have been, we got to keep our eye on the Cavaliers.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that update, and we'll certainly bring more of the Cavs, even throughout the rest of the football season, but certainly after the season ends. But yeah, for right now, go Browns, and looking forward to having another episode next week. Thank you everyone for listening. You've been listening to the Cleveland Sports Pros podcast.